I've always been interested in games where your choices can ultimately influence the fate of the land you're in and the people in it, and the Way of the Samurai games definitely fits that bill. Today we're going to be looking at the third game in the series with Way of the Samurai 3. While the first two games were on the PlayStation 2, this is the first game in the series to not just be on the PlayStation 3 but on the Xbox 360 as well. There was also a PC port that got released several years later, which will be the basis for this review. Way of the Samurai 3 takes place even earlier than the other two games in the series, with the game taking place during the Sengoku or Warring States period of Japan's history. Nobunaga Oda has started his ambitious goal of uniting Japan, and given one of the characters that appears in the game, we can speculate that the game takes place between 1570 to 1579. The game is set in the fictional land of Amana, ruled by the "We Have Nobunaga at Home" inspired feudal lord or daimyo, Fujimori Shuzen. Fujimori had conquered Amana by destroying the Sakurai clan who had previously ruled over the land. You play the role of a self-insert who finds themselves in the aftermath of a conflict and meeting two peasants. This is where your first choice is presented, and you can either faint and be taken to Takatane village nearby, or threaten the peasants and make your way there yourself. Nonetheless, you'll find that samurai are not entirely welcomed by the inhabitants of the village, and whether you just arrive at the village or you wake up at the village chief's home and leave, you'll see a woman being harassed by two thugs whom you can dispatch or ignore. The woman introduces you to Way of the Samurai 3, and from there your adventure begins. Will you regain the trust of the villagers who just want to live peacefully? Will you join up with Fujimori Shuzen to stabilise the land and prepare for Nobunaga at the cost of the people's happiness? Will you join the Oka clan to rebuild the Sakurai clan? Will you live your life helping people or be a menace? More importantly, is this game any good? Find out in The Good. Much like how Way of the Samurai 2 improved its gameplay mechanics over the original, Way of the Samurai 3 does the same. In the other two games there was only a set amount of time for you to settle your affairs before the events of the game came to a head. Way of the Samurai only had 2 to 3 days, while you could spend up to 6 to 8 days in Way of the Samurai 2. Way of the Samurai 3 in a way ditches that in favour of having your character stumble across events shown on your map as inklings. While some of these events can overlap each other, you can avoid some of them altogether to prevent the main story from progressing, meaning that you could wander around Amara indefinitely so long as you didn't trigger certain key events. While this does take away some urgency in what choices you need to make before certain things happen, I feel the game gives you more freedom into making yourself more powerful to handle the challenges ahead. With inklings you can even choose how your character will react, with unsheathing your sword as a hostile action or apologising as a more peaceful option which ends the scene as your character comically walks off. Your character can earn money by completing jobs for one of the 4 job brokers in the land, completing certain minigames such as chopping vegetables, cutting tuna or ringing a bell to name a few, or picking things up and selling them. As you complete jobs, the job broker's trust in the samurai goes up, and the variety of jobs will increase, and so will the amount of money you'll get rewarded for completing them. You will quite often do the same job more than once, but ones where you need to find characters or items will be randomised in the area you have to go to. Jobs can range from finding an elderly woman's underwear to outright killing people, and I think the variety of jobs is pretty good, as each job broker has some unique ones the others don't have, and not all the jobs are variations of one another. The game also has a partner system where your character can have a, mostly, female follower join them. Some of these followers can fight alongside you or give you access to some of the functions available at your home, and you can perform activities with your partner such as making mochi or swordplay theatre where your partner will swing a sword at you and you catch the blade with your hands. Once your partner trusts you enough, they can live at your home, and if left at home, there is a chance of an event happening such as losing or gaining money, getting or losing items, or having a weapon in your weapon safe break. One of the newest features the game introduces is the ability to create your own swords and spears. Throughout your time in Amana, you may find weapon parts after killing an enemy, and these parts can be combined to make a weapon by Dojima the Blacksmith, a recurring character in the series appearing in this game as 2 brothers. Parts have different attack and defense ratings to them, as well as skill points and weight, and all of these play a role in how effective your weapon will be. A weapon's durability can be upgraded too, so there is a lesser chance of your weapon breaking in combat, which would really disadvantage you since you'll do significantly less damage with a broken weapon. As well as swords, there are now spears, and spear fighting has its own style too, which is really neat. In terms of battling, you can also perform instant kills if you parry an attack at the right time and press the button prompt. You can even chain these kills together if an opponent runs at you within a short period after instantly killing one, and you can continue to kill countless enemies this way with little to no effort, which is neat as it makes you look really cool. This mechanic is only available if you're fighting to kill, so you can't do this with blunt attacks, which you would use if you intend to knock someone out. I do like the gameplay changes and updates that have been made to Way of the Samurai 3, and I feel that this is quite the step up from 2. The game's story has been expanded further. The game has over 20 possible endings that you can get, with some ranging from siding with one faction, helping certain individuals in that faction, killing everybody in Amana, to getting the game's true ending. It was fun playing through the game several times in order to see what ending I would get and how I would go about getting them, as well as what I needed to do differently to get them. This certainly increases the replay factor of the game, since the more you play it, the stronger you're likely to be, since you keep your weapons and money if you successfully complete the game and get an ending. You can also get the game to end prematurely by simply leaving Amana, which will allow you to keep your weapons, money and items. Weapons that you store in the weapon safe, as well as money in the, well, other safe, will remain if you're killed, so it doesn't hurt to keep backups and rainy day money just in case. When you complete the game, you are awarded with samurai points based on your performance. As your points increase, you can unlock more head and body types for your character, get new cosmetic accessories which can make your character look pretty wacky, change the colour of the blood, and most importantly, the ability to play as other characters. Once you unlock that feature, any character that you had knocked out throughout the game will be available as a skin that you can play as, and with all the customization features available, it was an absolute blast replaying the game over and over. Back to the story, the people that work for Fujimori Shuzen, the Orca clan, and even some of the townspeople have a background, and for the job brokers, if they trust you enough, after a certain event they may invite you to complete one last mission for them. There's also certain characters that appear during the day, and at sunset and night, Amana is more treacherous, with samurai killers and bloodthirsty ronin, wandering samurai without a master, wandering around who will attack you, though they stand out like a sore thumb so you can easily get the first hit in. Just be careful that others don't get caught up and get killed due to collateral damage, because when an NPC dies, they're dead for the rest of that run. I do like the cameo appearances in this game. The game has recurring characters from previous games, such as the sensei from the first game who is the master of the dojo in Amana, Donna Donna, who is now a female follower named Donna who you can partner with after spending 30 days in Amana, and Kasumi, a key character from Way of the Samurai 2, who will appear if you're on good terms with all of the job brokers at the same time. The game even has a cameo appearance from Zaiji the Black Hawk from the Shinobudo series, another series developed by Acquire. I really appreciate the recurring characters and the care taken with these cameo appearances, as this has sort of been a trademark of the series. I think that's all I have for the good, so let's look at what didn't work so well in the bad. Some of the jobs and minigames I found quite frustrating. One of the missions you do for the town requires you to go to the Fujimori camp to find someone bragging about their weapon, and after provoking them they will attack you. To complete the job you're required to break the weapon, and with how this game's blocking and parrying system works, this can be a lengthy process. When you attack or defend with your weapon, the durability bar goes up, and when it fills, the weapon starts breaking. The bar will go down over time, but sometimes the guy bragging about his weapon will switch up between attacking you, kicking and grabbing you. The latter two you can't guard against, and with grabbing, a small animation plays as you get kicked away. This gives the opponent's durability bar enough time to recover. You can't hurt them too much either, as they will give up and run away, causing you to fail the mission, or if you kill them, you will fail anyway, as you're only supposed to shatter their pride by shattering their weapon. In terms of the minigames, the swordplay theatre was a huge nuisance, as the game instructs you to push the analog sticks towards each other to catch the blade. By default, this isn't set correctly in the game's controls, so if you're not aware of it, you'll find yourself eating the blade and taking damage while wondering why it's not working. If you haven't been buying items to increase your maximum health, swordplay theatre can be potentially lethal to you, as you can run out of health and die, thus ruining your current run. The minigames are a great way to earn money in the game, but whether you pass or fail them, you will not be able to try them again for some time, which can annoy you if you've figured out why swordplay theatre wasn't working and want to see if changing the controls worked. The only other issue I have is that this game got a revised version known as Way of the Samurai 3 Plus. This was released for the PS3 in Japan only, shortly after the Western release of Way of the Samurai 3 for the PS3 and Xbox 360. The Plus version of the game added additional characters you could have as partners, a marriage system for the 3 main female characters, a new difficulty, a bonus fight if certain conditions are met, breaking the maximum HP limit beyond 9999, more NPCs and jobs, and more customization options for your samurai, accessories, weapons and parts, so that you can make even weirder and wackier things. The stances and movement in game have also been tweaked with motion capture as well. It was an absolute shame that we didn't get this version initially, and there was all the opportunity to consider it for the PC port, which would have given us a definitive version of the game. I really feel the ball was dropped here, as having a localized version with the Plus content would have given us a different version of Way of the Samurai 3. I think I've complained enough here, so let's wrap things up with the opinion. Not having the Plus version aside, I had a lot of fun with Way of the Samurai 3. The game has expanded the amount of freedom given to the player, and I really enjoyed exploring Amana, doing jobs, making money, making friends, making enemies, and making my own weapons. With the amount of endings the game has, there's a lot of replay value to it, and I also enjoyed giving my samurai wacky accessories to make the experience more comical. This game is certainly a step up from the previous 2 games, and even the negatives I feel aren't so bad, especially the swordplay theatre thing, since that was a default setting for the PC version. I personally can't remember if I came across this when I originally played the game on the PS3. If you liked Way of the Samurai 1 and 2, I think you would enjoy this game. Let's see how Way of the Samurai 4 stacks up when I get to it. So with that, it's time for my rating. I would give Way of the Samurai 3 me size underwear out of 10. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next Infinite Backlog review. If you enjoyed today's review, feel free to check out some of our other videos and subscribe for more. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram and our Facebook page. Once again, thank you for watching.